I am here to introduce your speaker. All right, Angela is known for implementing technology to operate a paperless organization and leveraging her education in psychology, yes, psychology, to master communication with clients, vendors, and team members. As a thriving entrepreneur, her passion for helping others has carried her from starting her career in mental health. Y'all know I had to talk to her about that, right? Career in mental health to being one of the most well-known educators and celebrity wedding planners in the world. Mental health, wedding plan. Okay, never mind. I see. Yes. I see some familiar faces in here, so I know some people in here, so they can get that. So as a result of her business success, Angela is a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, a global business network for entrepreneurs whose companies gross more than 1 million annually. She's been featured in Success Magazine for motorizing an industry better known for tool than tech. Of course, I saw that and said, tool? What in the world is tool? So some of you wedding planners may know what tool is. Y'all know what tool is? You do? I had no idea. She said it's old school stuff.
In the decor.
In the decor world. So, of course, me, I had no idea. No idea what it was. I am a DJ. So a DJ has no idea what tool is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Angela Prophet.
Thank you. Are you going to spin some tunes for us later?
I am going to play some tunes for you.
Yay, awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I know that it's early, so I'll try to have lots of energy. How many of y'all are early birds? Oh, this side of the room. And you guys are night owls? Yeah, me too. So, okay, well, thank you so much for coming. Like you said, I'm Angela Prophet. I know a couple of you in here. For those of you who I don't know, thanks for coming. And are you all planners? If you're not a planner, tell me what you do. Musician? Bakery? So you do wedding cakes? Awesome. What do you do?
I don't really know. I'm giving my wife.
Oh, you're such an awesome husband. Support. I love it. Teamwork. I love it. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk really fast because I have a lot of stuff that I want to share with you guys. And I believe that Julie shared the Dropbox. Did everybody get it? So in the Dropbox should be our presentations. If not, let me know. I can help fix that for you. And then some of the stuff I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about it more in depth later this afternoon, I think around 4:15ish. So if you want to come back and bring all of your technology, I can answer any of your questions. So I do operate all on Apple products. However, I do know how to work a PC, and I do know how to work a Droid a little bit. So, but usually all the apps and all the software, it crosses over just fine. So if you do have questions, anything about technology or productivity, after the session, obviously, take down your questions. I'm happy to answer. I'm here to help. We're here to teach and help build your business. So disclosure, I'm sharing key experiences on what has worked for us. I'm not promising anything. And did y'all get the hashtags for the Wedding Market Summit? I use Productivity Therapist. My background, as he said, was in therapy. I went to nursing school, hated it. I did work in a morgue. I didn't know what a morgue was, but I knew a girl that I taught gymnastics to. They needed a secretary, and it sounded fun, but I didn't know it was with dead people. But that's okay. Like, I learned a lot, and I was really, really good at anatomy, but I was not good inflicting pain on live people. So when I went to give shots, I'm like, this is not going to work because I'm making people cry. So then I went into mental health to help people. How many of you in here in the wedding industry because you love to help people? I hope you all raise your hand because if you're not, that's not good. So I'm going to share with you guys, like I've put together this recipe, which is funny because I don't cook anything. I can do a lot of stuff, but I cannot cook. And so there's a joke behind that. But there's 7 steps that I feel in our experience that we have mastered through business and through the wedding industry. And so people say, oh, you work with bridezillas, and I'm like, no, we don't tolerate that. That doesn't live in my world because I worked with really, really sick people. And if you think you have a problem, I can tell you some stories of real problems. And you don't have a problem. Anything that you have, we can fix. But the first thing is passion. So when I asked you guys, hopefully you love people. If you're not passionate about people, people can see through that. So you got to be passionate about what you do. It's the first thing. How many of you know who your ideal client is? Okay, we're going to talk more about that today. Y'all, I didn't really know, I guess until probably about 3 years ago, really who my ideal client was until someone took me through an exercise. I was like, oh, that's who I like to work with. So I'm going to share that exercise with you guys today. We've mastered communication. And again, that goes back into WedTech and technology. We educate our clients and tell them exactly what we're going to do and what the expectations are. And it's really funny. You know, years ago, at 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning, 7 days a week, clients would text me, and I would text them back. Like, how many of y'all still do that? I don't know, like, I allowed it. And then I'm, like, angry at the client. I'm like, but I never set any boundaries. Like, I never told them my office hours or this. So you've got to set boundaries up front. You've got to tell them what the expectations are. And then I'm gonna go through the process, which we're completely paperless, and the experience, and of course, last but not least, technology. So my why and why I believe in helping others is in college, the last week that I was graduating from my mental health job, because it started as an internship, my computer got a virus, and I had a PC. How many of y'all remember like the big towers? I know some of y'all remember. And it got a virus, and I took it to the computer doctor in Florida, and he's like, honey, you didn't back up with the floppy drive? I'm like, what the hell is a floppy drive? And I'm gonna go learn what a floppy drive is. And that's how long ago that was. But I very quickly learned. And then after floppy drives, like jump drives came out, and then all these little devices. So I became like the backup psycho queen. And so it's like I have hard drives and Carbonite, and I back with iTunes and iCloud and Dropbox and Google Drive. But there's a reason to use all of them, and I'm going to go into that. Then a week later, oh, and by the way, I lost everything, all my pictures, 6 months worth of client/sick patient data. And by the way, if I didn't turn that notebook in, I wasn't going to graduate on time. My professor didn't care. So I stayed up 3 nights in a row, producing 6 months worth of work, and I'm like, I'll never, ever feel this empty again and this depressed. And I just cried for 3 days, and I'm like, I need to check myself into the mental hospital that I work at. Like, how could this happen, right? And I did work with a lot of, really, really successful CEOs that, one of our patients, his building burned down, and he didn't back up either. And so he was suicidal because he lost everything. His wife left him. I mean, it's awful. Think about if you lose all your files, what do you do? So you can't leave this room today and say you didn't know. Because before this happened to me, I didn't know. And then a week later, my car was broken into. Really, comes in threes, right? A really bad week. And my purse was stolen, and my planner, how many of y'all have a planner? That's your Bible, right? It was stolen. And at the time, again, I'm in college. I taught gymnastics, I taught aerobics, and I had my classes. I thought my life was super important. I didn't know, 15 plus years later, I'd be managing millions of details and millions of dollars. So I feel like God did all this to me to set me up for success, way later. And everything does happen for a reason. So after my planner was stolen, I learned what an online calendar was, right? How many of you use your online calendar? Awesome, almost half of you. So today, it's okay to have your paper planner, but if you also use your electronic planner/calendar, and you can have both, and the idea is to wean yourself off of it. So I have classes called potty train your brain, and so you re-potty train your brain, and it's a whole new life, but it's so much easier, y'all. And then I don't know, have any of y'all, I know some of y'all are from Nashville, but anybody else know about the flood in Nashville? This was I-24, this is not Photoshop, this is freaking real, okay? So the month that this happened, we had 8 events, and I was like, God, what are you doing to me? Why why are you doing this? Like, I was clearly reevaluating my profession. But our town really pulled together. And what came out of this, and that's the street I grew up on as a little girl. I didn't lose anything, knock on wood. I didn't have a bad week. But a lot of my vendors had a horrible week, y'all. They lost everything. They lost all their equipment, their drape, their trucks, everything. And they had no flood insurance because we weren't in a floodplain. And so some of them had to file bankruptcy. So it was a pretty tragic thing. Then they came to me and they're like, okay, Angela, what's this drop thing? And what's this Google Drive? And all right, what is this paperless business? Because our files floated away. And they're like, we're not worried about your clients because everything's backed up. But they never understood the value of backing up. So the flood/tragedy started a new business for me, which was becoming paperless and like teaching other businesses in our industry how important it is to back things up. Okay, number one, again, genuine passion, like it really shines through. And you got to find out like how to relate to your clients. We're going to go more into that, and don't compromise. I can't say that enough. So it's funny, you can look at planners' pictures, and because I never know like when a photographer's around or a camera's around, and so I'm just doing my thing because we're working to make a client happy. And they're like, Angela, you're always smiling, like in every single picture. Like I'm making sure his pocket square is perfect. Everything has to be perfect. I stand up on chairs, I'm taking pictures, I'm on my knees. Like I don't care what I'm doing, like I'm happy with what I'm doing. And so if you feel like you're getting burnt out or you need a break, go back and look at your pictures and your video that you're in, and if you're not smiling, take a break. It's okay. So how many of you have an intake form on your website? Okay. Do you ask for their Pinterest ID? You may not with music. Anybody? All right. So on our pre-qualifying form, we ask these things. You have to put your name, your phone number, your email, and how can we help you? And then the rest of this is all optional, okay? So Pinterest ID, what's your date, how many guests, location, overall budget. They'll put 350 people, overall budget $10,000. And then here they're like, I want a band, I want a full bar, a seated dinner. And I'm like, did you leave out a zero on your overall budget? Remember that's important. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Preferred communication. Do you want me to text you? Do you want me to email you? Do you want me to call you? What do you want? And when can you meet? And the people that put Saturday or Sunday, I love that. Yeah. I don't know what day of the week it is half the time. I will meet you whatever time. I don't care. But you got to understand, we have to educate these people. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is like your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It truly is. So we have to educate these clients because they don't live in our world. Okay, so don't worry about the colors. Look at the pictures. And in mental health, we did 32 assessments on our patients. And this was the only psychological test that patients loved, and they actually would like open up to me. And I think the main reason is because you really don't have to be able to read. And when you're mentally ill or if you have suffered tragedy, try giving somebody a Myers-Briggs test and be like, read it and tell me how you feel. Like, it's just kind of a joke. What that means is you really can change hats like that and you're good with any color. You're good. But if you are a really high and really low, like I'm a really high orange and a really low green gold, you got to know that about yourself. And you've got to be able to take yourself out of you and put yourself and talk the language to whatever color you're talking to. So the way I know it is going back to the pre-qualifying form, back here, and going back to the Pinterest ID. When people don't fill in the Pinterest ID, which it's not you don't have to do it, like you don't have to start because we have orange clients mainly. They're like, huh? I don't have time for Pinterest, that's why I'm hiring you. But it's so helpful when I can see their Pinterest, unique floor plans. And so some of them are a little bit edgy, but like I would never go into a high gold and say, we're gonna have like aerial people coming down from the ceiling, serving champagne. Like their brain just can't do that. Like, huh? And then if I'm telling a green person that, they're like, well, what's the weight limit? And what kind of chain do you use? And then the orange people are like, that sounds awesome! And the gold people are like, how much does that cost? You know, so it's like being able to read what people are asking. And I spend so much time on the communication piece, which is like number 3 in the recipe, because this is everything. If you can communicate and read your clients, you're good. 3, communicate the journey. So again, we over-communicate. So this says share and back up your files. How many of you for real back your files up? Like tell the truth. Okay, so maybe like a third of you. So I hope that those of you who don't back up your files, like come back at 4 or 4:15 so we can talk about it more. But this guy says, my computer doesn't work, the hard drive crashed, what do I do? And the person on the phone says, did you back up? You know, he's like backing up and he's like, is it gonna blow up? You know, so it's like he doesn't understand. He doesn't. And so this is how brides and grooms, like these people, they don't live in our world. So we can't assume that they know what we're talking about, right? So these are my favorite apps. We're going to talk more about apps in a little bit. These are free. Every client that hires us, I'm like, give me your phone, give me your phone. We're going to put Dropbox, Google Drive, and Sign Easy. Or some of my clients, like if they're in real estate or there's a few other industries, they use DocuSign, HelloSign. They already have like the app for contracts. We don't do paper contracts. We'll email you contracts, but you're going to sign it with your finger and email it right back. Or I'm going to teach you how to name it and label it and put it in your Dropbox, even better. And there's very A or B. Oh, my parents gave me $10,000 and that is all I can spend. That is not our client. And so she'll say, you know, you might want to do a few things. Look at your guest count, look at your zip code, and look at your expectations. Because we don't have wands like Harry Potter. So good luck. And then the B, they're like, oh, well, we can spend more. Like, isn't $10,000 enough? They don't know what they don't know. So that's totally our client. We get them in the office. We're like, let me educate you on what things cost. And if they're gold or green, just a little bit, they've already done a little bit of research to know that what they're asking for is insane. Like, it doesn't exist. I tracked my time for a whole year. I didn't tell anybody. I just did what he said. And then we sat down, you know, the whole annual thing with the accountant and the business manager and all that. And he's like, do you want to know how many weddings you did last year for free? Like, basically not for free, but you paid them to do their wedding because you didn't charge appropriately. You didn't, like, I have to pay people. I have overhead. I have an office. We drive to work. We have computers. I have a cell phone. I have to put gas in my car. Like, those of us who work at home, we're like, oh, we don't have any overhead bullshit. We all have overhead, people. Your time is valuable. It's very valuable. And I didn't understand that until he's like, you did 100 weddings, and you had 30 that you actually made some money. And it's like, you know, knife in the heart kind of thing. I'm like, okay, so we got to change some things. First 3 people said, no, like, I'm not doing that. Like, I only want to spend this much money on a planner. Y'all, I cried. I'm not a crier at all. And our closing rate when I meet with people is 100%. If I can meet with you and educate you, we're good. So when people say no, like, that hurt. And he's like, you gotta keep trying, honey. You're never gonna make any money. You might as well go get a job. Go back to healthcare. Why are you doing this? And so the 4th one said yes, and then the 5th one, and then the 6th one. The next year I did it, I did the least amount of weddings and made more money than those 8 years. And people didn't change their mind. And people stopped texting at 2 in the morning. And my life changed. I could go to the gym, I could work out, I could spend time with my family. I got my calendar together. And I'm like, okay, this is what boundaries. Boundaries, okay, good. Changes that you make, and y'all, I had every excuse in the book. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, no one in this industry, like, does that. And like, but I love shopping for people, and like, it's fun. And like, I don't want to keep up with my hours. It just like nails on a chalkboard. But now, the 1st of every month, I love it because I know how much we're gonna make that month. And that's important. When you're running a business, it is your business and you gotta take ownership of it. People like look at us as a service instead of a product, and they're like, I owe this much, and I'm like, oh, okay, you drive a BMW. Now, okay, but did you go get your brakes done? And like, you know how when you get your brakes or your tires done, there's like all those charges of labor this, tighten this, turn this upside down, fill this. I'm like, do you go back to the like automotive department and question them? No. And you're not going to drive your car away until you pay, right? It's like stealing. It's like when you want clothes, you pay for them, they take the security tag off, and just because we're a service, our time is valuable. So you've got to make people understand that. And again, it's all about education. How many of you have a promo? Video promo? 1, 2. Guys, this is the #1 tool. There's a great ROI on it. As a year in our marketing budget, to make sure that at the end of every year, we have a promo and we have a video. And there are people that call and say, I saw your video and I don't know how much you cost, but I want you to do my wedding. And that's the best sales tool because they can see what I do. And I'm running out of time, so y'all can go online and watch this. Hey, you cannot recreate this. Like every time I watch it, it gives me chills. Now, I planned for this. I talked to the video people. I talked to the photo people. I'm like overly anal. I'm like, okay, you got the audio. Like I even bought my own audio pen, which I don't use pen and paper, but it captures audio. Because that's important to me. Like someone taught me years ago how the strategies, like this guy wrote me into his toast at their wedding. And like, it was just so sweet. So it's like, you know, take people through what you offer, right? I'm not going to bore you. But capturing audio and video is definitely one of the most important things. I'm going to have about 200 people setting up your daughter's reception. So that's why your labor is 30 grand. And so I time-lapsed their event. That's the very first time that I did that because I'm like, he was so mean to me. He was so rude and so mean. And I don't take it personal because after the wedding, they're all drunk and they're like, this is the best thing ever. I'm sorry. And yes, that happened. But I don't take it personal because, again, they don't know what they don't know. But when people now question, I'm like, go watch the time lapse. And like when the dad got the time lapse, he was like, oh my gosh, there's more people setting up than like guests at the wedding. I'm like, yeah, and I have to pay all those people. And without these people, I'm no one. Everyone's like, oh, Angela. I'm like, no, this is not about me. I'm not even at every wedding that I do at all. And I tell people that. They're like, but you're going to be there, right? I'm like, I'm not your friend. I am going to plan and design and line everything up. And 10 days before your wedding, it better be perfect. And I could be hit by a bus or my plane could go down and any of my girls could pick up your timeline and Google Drive and run the best event ever. So it's good that I'm not a one-man show. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Ingredient 6, experience. I say pull back the drape, show your clients how you do it behind the scenes. Again, goes back to education. So how we do it behind the scenes is we divorce pen and paper completely. And so we train our clients and our vendors how to use Dropbox, how to use Google Drive, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But it provides really good customer service. The free apps that we use in the office. We talked about a few of these, and again, I'm going to go more into it. Anybody more excited now? All right, thanks, guys.